Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be swapping this out on the 5 support of my 530D SE. Basically any model with fully electric seats will have this. The partial ones do not. So anything with comfort, i.e. like these seats, or the fully electric sport seats will have this in, and they're very common to fail. So I'll show you guys how to replace this. And yeah, just to make you aware, you can also get a brass version, but this has lasted about 100,000 miles and about 13 years, and I'll never keep the car for any longer than probably, knowing me, a year max. So, and this is on the passenger side, guys, so just goes to show it's not always the driver's side that goes. And yeah, I'll show you guys what the actual issue is now. Right guys, so the simple issue is you can see the 5 support here, and with the controls here, if you were to extend the 5 support with this button, so if you can hear, but the motor is fully working, so we know the motor is turning, but obviously this isn't extending, and you can see I can move it out manually, so definitely going to be that cog. Let's crack on, get into it, and get this off and take the motor out. Right, so first guys, we're at the front of the vehicle in the passenger footwell. This bottom trim here needs to come off first. Right guys, so the front piece is off. I'll clean that up off camera, and now we can then move on to underneath here. Right, so next we need to take this Torx bolt out. There's one just up here as well, just there. So this will lift this up. So I'm using a T27. Right guys, so both T27 Torx bits are out. So we can now remove this and drop it down, like so. You can see this is exposed now, and I can clean all this up. What we'll do is we'll just unplug this as well. Alright, so release that from there. Release that. Then we can remove this, and I'll clean this up as well off camera. Right, so this piece, that comes out like so. And now what we're going to do is we're now exposed to the motor bolts, which are here. So we can now release them. Right, so they're all loose now, so we can drop the motor down. Right, that's a bit of a fiddle, but there you go. So there's the main motor. So we can now take this to the bench, and we can take it apart. So just to give you some context, guys, into what I've actually done here. So all these bolts need to come off. They're just these little hex key bolts, and obviously the 2 to get the main squab off. And then the bottom piece here, so that sits on like that, that needs to come off. And obviously this part as well. Unbolt this, sorry, unplug this, and also down here, so you can see it on camera, but I'll lift it there. That's the main one that goes into the motor. So you need to undo that as well, and then you can then pull it out and then take it to the bench. Right, so you guys, right guys, so you join me back on the bench. What we need to do is we need to take off these little Torx bits there. Right, so we need to take off these little Torx screws here. 1, 2, 3. Right guys, so I've pulled the motor out here, as you can see. Just going to check it. So it's got plenty of grease on it. So what we'll do now is we'll take the housing out, and we'll see what's actually happening in there. Right guys, so that was a bit of a nightmare. Trying to get this part off here is quite tricky, but straight away I can see, there you go, So there's the issue. Right, so we'll just fish out the parts we need. So we need that part, take the little rubber bush off the end, grab our new little cog, push it over the end, grab a little, I suppose, little socket, just hammer that on. Right, so hammered back on, grab my little bushings on either end, like so. Right, so the cog's back on the end of this worm drive. We'll put the bushes back on either end, like so. Pop this back in, like so. Grab some general purpose grease. Grab your motor. Make sure all the holes line up, like so. Grab the housing, clip that into place. Right, so the end Allen key bolts are in. We can then button this part back up with our 3 Torx bits, like so. We're going to take it back to the car. Right, so during back in the car, tested this, working absolutely fine. So that's all fixed, screwed up there and around the motor. So now what we can do now is we can gently push this into place. So we'll thread it back in upside down, how it came out. Thread it up and underneath, like so. And move my iPhone cable out the way. What we'll do is just get one of these in position. And then on this side, we'll just adjust it in the same light, like so. Right, okay, so it's now essentially tacked into position. What I can do now is plug the connector back in, like so. And then test the mechanism. So we know that's now working. So, happy days. So we can now proceed to reassemble. So I'll pop all of the necessary Torx bits back in. And then before we go any further, I'll just make sure everything's clean. Right, so that's all done. So what we'll do now is we'll just make sure everything is clean before we go ahead. So I'll just cut to a time lapse and get this all nice and shiny again. So there you go guys, all nice and clean, and we have a working fire support. Happy days. That's another job done. On to the next one. So there you go guys, keep it short and sweet today. That's how you sort your fire support motor out. If you like what you see today, of course, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe and comment down below if you can. And I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy. See you later.